Pluto, a name that evokes mystery, nostalgia, and debate. A world once celebrated as the ninth planet of our solar system, a symbol of human discovery, a fixture in science education, and a distant enigma at the frozen edge of the sun's dominion. For 76 years, Pluto reigned as the final outpost in the planetary lineup. Orbiting in the deep cold beyond Neptune, it occupied a special place in our imagination. Though tiny and distant, it was a planet, our planet. The last, smallest, most elusive member of a family we thought we understood. But in 2006, everything changed. In a single moment, a vote by the International Astronomical Union, or IU, Pluto was redefined. It was no longer a planet. It was now something else, a dwarf planet. A new category. A reclassification that sent ripples through classrooms, science books, news headlines, and public consciousness. It was a decision that challenged our understanding of the universe and of what it means to be a planet. But why? Why was Pluto, once celebrated, suddenly no longer a planet? To answer that, we have to travel back almost a century, back to a time when the solar system was a smaller, simpler place. In the early 1900s, astronomers believed something was lurking beyond Neptune, a mysterious influence. Something was subtly tugging at the orbits of Uranus and Neptune, small gravitational anomalies that hinted at an unseen presence. This hypothetical world was called Planet X. Percival Lowell, an American astronomer and wealthy visionary, became obsessed with finding it. He built a dedicated observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, and spent his final years scanning the skies. Though he died without finding Planet X, the search continued. In 1930, a 24-year-old farm boy-turned-astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh finally spotted something, a faint moving dot on a pair of photographic plates. It was a distant object orbiting beyond Neptune. The discovery was historic. The new object was named Pluto, after the Roman god of the underworld, a nod to its cold, dark nature and a tribute to Lowell, whose initials, PL, are the first letters of Pluto. The world rejoiced. Newspapers across the globe heralded the discovery of the ninth planet. Pluto entered the textbooks. Mnemonic devices like "My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas" became classroom staples. The solar system was complete, or so we thought. But Pluto was never quite like the others. It was tiny. Originally believed to be Earth-sized, later measurements shrank it to less than 1/5 the Moon's mass. Its orbit was odd, tilted 17 degrees off the solar system's flat orbital plane, and highly elliptical, sometimes bringing it closer to the Sun than Neptune. Still, we accepted it as a planet because, well, what else could it be? For decades, Pluto remained an enigma, the most distant, the most mysterious, and the least understood of the 9 planets. Then, in the 1990s, everything began to change. Astronomers started to discover a new population of objects beyond Neptune, icy, rocky remnants from the solar system's formation. This region, now known as the Kuiper Belt, was like a second asteroid belt, but colder, larger, and far more mysterious. At first, these newly discovered Kuiper Belt objects, or KBOs, were small. But then, they started getting bigger, more complex, more planet-like. Astronomers began to realize that Pluto wasn't alone. It was part of a family, a large family. And in 2005, the tipping point arrived. A team led by Mike Brown at Caltech discovered an object known as Eris, a trans-Neptunian world similar to Pluto, but slightly more massive. Eris even had a moon. It was a revelation. Suddenly, the question wasn't just, is Pluto a planet, but rather, what even is a planet? If Pluto is a planet, shouldn't Eris be one too? And if Eris is a planet, what about the dozens or hundreds of other large KBOs we're finding? Would our list of planets balloon from 9 to 50 to 100? The astronomical community realized it needed clarity, a definition, a consistent way to categorize objects as planets or not. And so, in 2006, the IAU convened in Prague. Hundreds of astronomers from around the world gathered to answer one of astronomy's most fundamental questions. After days of debate and proposal, a vote was held. The IAU formally adopted a three-part definition of what makes a planet. According to the IAU, a celestial body is a planet if it orbits the Sun. It is massive enough for gravity to shape it into a nearly round form. It has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit, meaning it is gravitationally dominant in its orbital zone. Pluto satisfied the first two conditions. It orbits the Sun. It's spherical, but it failed the third. Pluto shares its orbital neighborhood with countless other Kuiper Belt objects. It is not dominant. It has not cleared its path. And so, under this new definition, Pluto was no longer classified as a planet. It became a dwarf planet, a term now used for round, sun-orbiting bodies that have not cleared their orbits. The scientific reasoning was sound, logical, but the public reaction was something else entirely. People were stunned, outraged, sentimental. To many, Pluto wasn't just a planet. It was our planet, the one discovered by a young underdog astronomer, the plucky little world on the edge of the solar system, a symbol of mystery, of wonder. Protests erupted. Petitions were signed. Mike Brown, who had discovered Eris, received hate mail and even death threats. Late-night shows joked that Pluto had been unfairly fired. School children across the globe were confused. Had their textbooks lied? But beneath the noise, a larger truth emerged. Science is not static. It evolves. As our tools improve, as our knowledge grows, our definitions must grow too. Reclassifying Pluto wasn't about diminishing its importance. It was about refining our understanding of the solar system as a whole. And then, in 2015, nearly a decade after Pluto's reclassification, everything changed again. NASA's New Horizons spacecraft, after a 9-year journey through the darkness, arrived at Pluto. It was our first close look, and what it found was breathtaking. A world of frozen plains and towering ice mountains. A dynamic, layered atmosphere. Possible cryovolcanoes. Geologic activity. A heart-shaped glacier, dubbed Tombaugh Regio. A poetic tribute to Pluto's discoverer. Pluto wasn't just a cold rock. It was alive, complex, beautiful, and full of surprises. It became clear that planetary status wasn't what made Pluto special. What mattered wasn't the label, but the mystery, the science, the story, the wonder. Pluto's reclassification helped us better understand the architecture of the solar system. It led us to explore the Kuiper Belt more deeply and to acknowledge the diversity of worlds beyond Neptune. In many ways, it elevated Pluto's importance in planetary science. Today, Pluto serves as a symbol, not of demotion, but of discovery, of how science adapts to new information, of how even the smallest worlds can hold the biggest surprises. And perhaps that's the most important lesson, because in the end, Pluto didn't lose anything. It gained clarity. It gained complexity. It gained the kind of attention and exploration it had always deserved. Pluto still orbits the Sun. It still guards the gateway to the Kuiper Belt. It still invites questions, inspires wonder, and stirs debate. And long after our arguments about labels have faded, Pluto will remain frozen, mysterious, quietly magnificent. A reminder that our understanding of the universe is always unfolding. not diminishing, not ending, just beginning.